On day 2 of a bail hearing and on her 51st birthday, Odelia Quewezance looks back at a lifetime institutionalized.
I was talking to my oldest daughter, Haley, and she was mentioning, she was like, wow, Mom, you're 51 today, and you were in prison 30 years and 4 or 5 years in a boarding school, so I've been confined most of my life.
She and her sister, Nerissa, arrived at the Yorkton courthouse Wednesday with support from family and advocates, pushing for the two to be released after spending 30 years in prison for a murder their cousin confessed to. Advocates Nicole Porter and Dan Godberzin partnered with Change.org to create a petition to free the Quewezance sisters. They've so far received over 60,000 signatures.
We wanted the country as a whole to know how many concerned citizens there are, and we would like to see ultimately the Justice Minister in Saskatchewan make attempts at reconciliation here. So our big goal was to deliver these signatures to her.
Godberzin wasn't successful in submitting the petition while spending Tuesday outside the Saskatchewan legislature. But signatures are still rolling in from across the country and some from the States.
I'm here for the sisters, the miscarriage of justice. This is 30 years and it's just deplorable.
Senator Kim Pate used to be the executive director of the Elizabeth Fry Society, supporting women in jail. She said she met the sisters when they were first incarcerated.
So what's really important for people to know is all of those breaches, in almost every case, they were continuing to live their lives. They were contributing to the community. I mean, when Nerissa was unlawfully at large for over 2 years, she was actually working with people in the downtown east side. She was sheltering animals and fostering them. She was working. She was not posing a risk to public safety. And that what the judge has to look at is, will releasing these two women on bail pending the review of their wrongful convictions result in a risk to public safety? And I think the very clear answer is no.
The judge won't be making a decision for at least another month, but Odelia says she refuses to give up hope for a positive outcome.
This should be reconciliation today, and I only still believe in my heart that everything's gonna work out today, and I just keep praying every day. My team wouldn't be here if they didn't believe we were innocent.
Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Yorkton.
The details of the 1993 murder and trial were front and center at Wednesday's hearings. APTN's Danielle Parody was there listening to the extensive testimony, including how the two sides saw the murder and trial in very different ways. Danielle, there were two competing messages at the bail hearing today. Let's start with what the sisters' lawyers were saying. What was the main argument?
The main argument of the sisters' lawyers is that the sisters have been mistreated. There was a lot of focus on the fact that the police ignored a judge's order to remand them to a prison in Prince Albert and instead kept them in a local detachment where they were questioned against the advice of their counsel. There was also a discussion on the treatment of Indigenous people and the way that we've interacted with the judicial system, and a focus on how we know more about false confessions, which James Lockyer has said that that's what the sisters' confession was a false confession, and now keeping in mind that false confession, that we need to re-examine the sisters' case.
Okay, so the Crown is using the sisters' criminal history against them, but also going back to discuss the murder and trial. What message did Saskatchewan put forward?
The Saskatchewan Prosecutor's Office focused on the sisters' repeated breaches of parole and times that they were unlawfully at large, so times that they had left prison, to talk about community safety and whether or not that would be a concern, as well as a focus on the sisters' substance abuse issues, both in the past and more recently.
But did the judge have anything to say during today's testimony, one way or the other?
The judge hasn't weighed in one way or another. We're still waiting on a decision. That'll be a few weeks from now. However, before I left the court, the judge was saying that he would prefer more information about a release plan for the sisters before making a decision.
What's next, Danielle?
This was the last day of the hearing, and right now they're just discussing when they should reconvene to discuss the details of a release plan. So we won't see a decision for 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.